Mom.
Mom.
Mother.
Mom.
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 Welcome to Point of View.
Nick, remember, I don't know if this was in episode 1 or very early episode when we talked about doing our hair for an audio medium? Well, today, we both got haircuts before this. So
Today is that day.
we're ready.
Today is that day.
We look good. We got new haircuts. You're dressed for work.
I am. Like I'm going to a funeral, really. I'm in all black.
How are you?
It is
How
a
are you
funeral.
feeling?
It is a funeral for the
funeral
lack
for
of sleep
what?
I got last night. I'm feeling good. A lot has happened, so I just want to preface this. We recorded earlier in the day a different episode, and since then I have put a down payment on a car. I have gotten bit by a tick, and I have gotten my hair cut. So, all in the span of like 3 hours. So
You got
welcome
bit by
back.
a tick? I knew about all of
Yeah.
that except for the tick.
Yeah.
Were you
I'm gonna watch
frolicking
it
through
closely.
the woods? What happened?
No, I don't even know what happened, honestly. I didn't pick up my dog. I don't know what happened. I went to shower because I had hair all over me. I don't know if that happens to you when you get a haircut.
Yeah.
And
How did you know?
because I saw
It's
it on
like-
me.
You saw it on you, and you saw
Yeah.
the bite?
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah. yeah.
Ticks freak me out because they're like little parasitic bugs that just want to get in your skin. I don't know. That's gross. Oh,
Thank
I'm
you for
sorry
that.
To hear that. I'm sorry.
Um,
I'm sorry to hear that.
All right. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited about this episode. I took a power nap in between the previous episode recording and this one, so I'm ready to go. It's a special episode. It's the Mother's Day episode that we've kind of had an idea that we were going to do this for a while, but it's actually happening now, so I'm really excited about this.
I am excited to introduce my mom to the show. You already kind of know her. She has been on about half of the episodes, but this time she is invited. She is probably my favorite human on the planet, coming in right before Lady Gaga. And what?
She thought
She's
you were
looking
going to say
at me weird.
afterwards.
She's no.
Yeah, she did. I'm looking at her face right now.
H. Yeah, she's one of my favorite people ever. Definitely my biggest supporter. She's in the top 5. No, I'm kidding. She's my biggest supporter, and I'm very excited to welcome her to the podcast. So this is my mom, Camille.
Hi, everyone.
Yay.
Are you already crying?
Welcome.
No, but I did get a little misty-eyed.
She definitely did. I had to keep it funny too. Take it away, Justin.
I also realized, I don't know if, like, am I calling you Camille? Am I calling you Mrs. Gervasi? Because I don't know.
You can-
I think this type.
I think
don't-
he was asking me.
Oh, my bad.
You can call me whatever you're comfortable with calling me. Camille or Mrs. Gervasi, whatever you'd like.
I say Mrs. Do, so it's
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll
Whatever
figure it
you're
out.
comfortable
Whatever,
with,
well,
it's all
yeah,
good.
whatever. Okay, sounds good. My mom has gotten so many different shout outs on this podcast. I've played tennis with you. I've played pickleball with you. Nick, you and I are the reasons that both of our moms, right? We're our family's firstborns, our parents' firstborns.
this is true.
You're one of the biggest. You are my biggest supporter. You always will be. You're mama bear when you need to be, and you've encouraged and supported Nick and I in this podcast adventure, and so it only seemed right to have you on this Mother's Day episode, of course, because you're my mother and my biggest supporter. So please welcome my mom, Lisa Do.
Hi everyone, that was
Woo!
nice, Justin. Thank you.
I don't think so, because that was completely off the cuff. And I was like,
I was gonna say, I was also like having anxiety. I was like, wait, we didn't plan these, Justin. I
know
hope
we
you did.
didn't.
But it makes me feel better that you also didn't plan yours, because
No,
I was
I
like, oh,
didn't.
he planned something.
No, absolutely not.
Awesome.
But welcome
Well,
to the podcast.
for sure.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having me.
This is exciting.
I feel like we should get right into the first question, which, Mrs. Gervasi, I'm sure you know what the question is. Mom, I'm going to ask you first, because I asked you earlier if you had an answer and you knew, and you said you've told me, and I regret to say that I forgot what you've said. But if you were a fruit, what fruit would you be and why?
First of all, very disappointed that you don't remember.
So
because
sorry.
we talked about this.
I'm so sorry. I feel so much pressure for this episode, Nick. I don't know
No.
about you.
I do too.
My
Oh,
mom.
come on.
No. So, if I were a fruit, I would be a grape. Do you remember now?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like I remember.
So I would be a grape because they travel in bunches, and I love to be around people. And so a bunch of people just makes me so happy. And Justin, you know that. But also, I would be a grape because, unfortunately, when I'm concentrating or not smiling, sometimes it might come across with an RBF, for those of you who know that. Maybe a not so pleasant look, which I do not mean. So I might appear like sour grapes, but I'm not. But then when you taste a grape that looks like a sour grape and it's pleasantly sweet, you say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry that I judged that grape. And so I might feel people might do that to me. But I try to smile so I don't have that look on my face too often.
What a great answer. I feel like that is definitely in the running for most philosophical, I would say. That
Yeah,
was-
for sure. And we had never had a grape before. We are doing so well this year with having new fruits.
New fruits.
Episode. They're really growing. What can we
Nick,
say? We're
Nick,
really
we're
running
a
a
fruity
vineyard.
bunch.
We. What can I say? You really know it.
Can you
Okay,
tell where
so
I get
that-
my extroversion from? Just a little bit. A bunch
Yeah,
of
I was-
people make
I
you
was gonna
happy.
comment. Yeah. I was gonna comment and say that, like, Justin, you also love big groups and get your energy from them. So, yeah, I definitely noticed that parallel. Mom, what fruit would you be if you were a fruit?
I'm never going to be able to top Lisa's answer. Let me just say that.
Of course you will.
I try not. I like purposely didn't ask you beforehand because most of the guests don't have. I mean, unless they
I'm
listen.
so sorry.
No.
I broke protocol.
No, you're good because most of the guests have heard that question before. So,
I'm just going to go with watermelon. I feel like it's a summer fruit, and people seem lighter and happier in the summer at like maybe a picnic or like a family gathering outside. So I'm going to go with watermelon. Short and sweet.
I like that.
Like mother, like daughter, huh?
Oh yeah, Jordan's a watermelon.
Is she really?
Yeah, she answered
didn't
that
know
on
that. What are
episode
you?
3. Well, I am
Well,
a cherry
that's
because
a
I'm
complicated question.
yeah because I have a pit. I'm a good person, but I like that it's like nothing's black, nothing's 100%
Right.
good or bad or a very philosophical, very OCD recovery, and also looking for my other half. There's 2 cherries.
Oh, look at you.
What can I say?
He auditioned a couple of other fruits beforehand.
Yes, I did.
It didn't
That sounds
feel
like
right.
Yes.
What was
And
your
aren't you
first one
proud?
again?
I was a coconut. No, I was a coconut. Then I was for no reason other than I liked coconuts. Then I was an avocado, and now I'm a cherry. And you should be very proud because you're really, in the true sense of the word, I'm gonna make a joke at my own expense. You really bore fruit, literally.
Oh my god.
No worries. Absolutely no
We've
words.
come such a long way. All right, so let's open this up right away. We're already off to the races. And my hip is asleep because we're sitting, we're trying to share
On
the
floor.
because we're on the floor and we're
About
sharing
your
the
poor
mic.
mom.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, I know.
Well, you have the pillow to sit on
Make
if you
sure
want to.
Dad doesn't fall asleep. He's going to have to help me get up.
Oh yeah, no, I said that. We're like, and then we're gonna call in my dad to pick her up off the floor. Should we get into the questions?
Yes, let's get into it.
All right.
So, as I mentioned in my introduction, Nick and I, and we're also going to get into not necessarily sibling dynamics, but like oldest versus youngest dynamics, and because I'm interested to hear your thoughts on if me, Nick, and your other kids, fall into that. But as I mentioned in my introduction, Nick and I are the oldest in our families, and so we were just curious if you could share, Mom, we'll start with you. How did it feel when you first realized that you were going to be a mom for the first time?
So I guess I'll assume that's when you find out when you're pregnant. And
That's what
The
I'm
light
thinking.
questions.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, the light questions.
the light questions. So nervous because it would be all new to me. Hoping that you came with a manual so I would know what to do. And really excited because this would be, part of my life's plan, to go to college, get married, have a baby. So all of these things are coming true. So very excited.
I love that.
What about you, Mrs. Gervasi?
What would you say?
I would say because Dad and I had tried for so long that I was thrilled but petrified at the same time. And, I look back and I think before Dad and I were even married, I had said to him, we're going to have a boy and a girl, and their names are Nick and Jordan. And then after Nick was born, I was like, how shallow. Like, I should have been praying for just a healthy baby. Like,
Can we just end the episode here? I didn't need to know that my parents were trying for so long on live. You literally just said...
For the first time, you found that out?
Yeah, I didn't need to know that. Yeah.
That's really sweet, though, that in your head, you had always thought, your family would consist of a boy and a girl, and you had Nick and Jordan. A follow-up question, and I'll ask you too afterwards, but where did those names come from? I'm curious. Was there someone that you knew named Nicholas, or someone you knew named Jordan that you liked those names? Or
Yeah, not at all. I've always loved the name Nicholas. Mm-hmm. And when I was pregnant with Jordan, because the pregnancies were so similar, I swore up and down she was a boy, and I was like, great, we don't have a name for a boy, because I had never heard Jordan for a boy's name, and we didn't find out the sex of the babies before they were born. So I've always loved those names. I can't even maybe 13 years old, like I was
wow.
I love. Yeah.
How'd you come up with our names, Mom?
Well, our last name is Dew, so it's a little tricky. You have to be very careful what the first name is. Definitely, we knew it had to be 2 syllables. But I have to say to Camille, I'm very impressed that you had these names and you kept with them, because I probably had names when I was younger. I know when Derek and I got married, we had names, and they were changing all the time. And luckily, I think we came in with 3 boy names and 3 girl names. And then after I had the baby, it was kind of like, well, you name them. So we couldn't narrow it down. But I always loved the name Justin, and I thought it flowed very nicely with Dew. And the biggest thing I wanted was the middle name was important to me, because I come from a family of 3 girls. And so my last name was ending with me because I was the youngest in my family. So when I got married and changed my name, my last name ended. And that was really important to me, that Justin, whatever, boy or girl, was going to have that Martins as their middle name.
Oh, that's
and I've threatened my children as Mama Bear that someone needs to continue this legacy of naming their child in their middle name anyway.
Dear future wife, one of her children.
I love that. I love that.
I love the Mama Bear. Like, I say that
You
all
say
the
that
time.
too. I just want to say this is my favorite episode. I say this on every single episode, but this is my favorite episode to record so far. This is so interesting.
You like the family dynamics, because you said that.
I
mean,
do.
The sister episode was the 3rd episode we recorded, but you said that too. You were excited about listening to the family dynamics, and
I really am. So the next question is, how is the role, and either of you can answer this first if you want, how is the role of mother changed as your kids grew up?
I'll let you go first, Lisa, if you want. Or
Oh dear, I don't know if I've
you're
been
talking
answered.
to me about this a lot all the time, like how your role has changed.
Yeah,
so
well,
much.
I definitely agree with that, and I've actually read something that says that I was fortunate enough once I had my second one to stay home with my kids and be a stay-at-home mom. And I say that when there's something I read that says when you stay home and your kids are toddlers, you're staying home for you. When you stay home and your kids are teenagers, you're staying home for them because they need the guidance.
So true.
So I thought that was very interesting. But I have said to Justin, I think on numerous occasions, that although every phase has brought its joyous moments and its challenging moments, you know, when they're younger, you're, I think, physically exhausted. When they're, I would say, teenagers, you're emotionally exhausted. But I think now that my youngest is 18 and the other two are in their 20s, that I feel like I've moved more from parenting to guiding. And I'm enjoying this role a little more. I'm hoping the foundation is set pretty nicely, and now just guiding. And that seems a little bit easier and less stressful for me. How about you, Camille?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. When they were younger, I was a very strong disciplinarian. And now I feel like that Nick and Jordan both come to me for advice, like genuine advice. And I feel like my role has eased up in the way that I'm not telling them what to do. I'm offering what I would do in certain situations when they come to me and say, Mom, what would you do here? And more than anything, I value our relationships. I think I tried to keep, even when I was being the disciplinarian and they flat out hated me, well, you know what I mean, like in your teenage years when, you know.
I just made a face. That's what she's referring to.
You made me lose my train of thought.
Hey, that's my bad. You made me lose my circulation in my right leg.
You were talking about how you value the relationships even when you were the
I do, and always in the back of my mind, even when they were babies and toddlers and children and teenagers, like, I tried to talk to them in a way that would be respectful so that we could come out of those ugly years, if you will, and into young adults. And I feel like I don't know, I feel like we did it. And
Yeah.
By the way, you're still not sitting at my desk.
Yeah, all right. My bad.
It's
So
interesting to
as you
hear
can
that-
see, we have not done it. No, I'm kidding. We have.
It's interesting to hear the other side of things because, Nick, you and I have talked on here about we've moved home after college and it's a different type of relationship with our parents because we're no longer, you know, in the high school stage of maybe needing that hand holding, and we're more kind of emerging into adulthood and trying to figure out our lives. And I've never really talked with you, Mom, about that. Well, we've talked a little bit about this, but it's nice hearing your perspective on how, okay, Justin's moved back now, so we have to adjust to, you know, it's not necessarily parenting, but guiding, like you said. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you felt the same way, Nick and Mrs. Gervasi, but I think it's interesting to hear the other side of this.
Yeah, I do too, and I do agree. I agree with what both of our moms said there. I feel similarly. This is one of my favorite questions out of the whole thing. I'll let my mom answer it, and then I'll answer it correctly for her. Do moms have favorites?
Absolutely not. Oh my gosh.
I just love teasing her about this. My whole life I've teased her about this, saying that Jordan's the favorite child. And Jordan loves this. Jordan, like, eggs it on. She just
I will say this, let me add this. So
it changes.
Oh,
depending, I'm sure. No.
When Nick,
Hey, that was my answer.
I know. Was that your answer? I knew you were going to say that. It changes depending on the stage of life.
When Nick was younger, he would say to me, like, Jordan's your favorite. And I got so sick of hearing it that one day I said, you're right. No, I said, no, she's not my favorite, but I do like her better. And it finally shut him up. Sorry to say it that way. But no, absolutely not. I do not have a favorite.
and so next week will be the trauma episode. No. I want to hear Mrs. Dude's answer. I'm very...
Well, I think that's a loaded question, first of
Oh,
all.
it very much is.
But I'll take it. So I don't have a favorite. I love my three children the same, and for different reasons, because they're all really different people, and I love that because they all bring something really special to our home. But I will say, on occasion, I might be leaning towards one or two over the other, depending on what's going on. I'm not going to lie.
I love your honesty.
I do too. You can admit it.
Hear that, Ryan and Ashley? I might be the favorite right now because I'm sitting next to Mom on a podcast.
But I'm also hearing it might not always be that way.
No, it's definitely not always. I think that's funny. I just put you on the spot. I thought that was appropriate. Mrs. Gervasi, I don't know if Nick prepared you for this next one, but we asked you, I believe, to come prepared with a childhood story of Nick, of me. And so before we kind of start talking about like birth order traits and like, you know, oldest versus youngest types of things, because I think that would be an interesting conversation to hear your thoughts on that. I was wondering if you, and Mrs. Gervasi, you can start with this one, if you had a childhood story of Nick that you wanted to share and bring to the podcast.
A funny one.
There's like a million of them. There's a million of them. I don't even.
Like you've always been a clown, Nick, huh?
What can I say?
He's very funny. I mean, what stage are we talking about?
Any stage.
When he was maybe 3 years old, we would go to the park.
Oh,
and
I know where this is going.
Nick always did better speaking to adults, and the pediatrician would say to me, you know, just get him around more kids, he'll be fine. And Nick's vocabulary and his ability to speak was amazing at a very young age. So I would have Jordan in that little kangaroo pouch because she was still an infant, and I would encourage Nick to go up and play with this little boy or this little girl or ask them to go on the swings. And he would try. He would give it the old college try. And he would come back to me. Now, mind you, I'd either be standing or sitting with other parents, and he would say something like, Mom, I tried to do what you asked me to do, but that 3-year-old just cannot speak English well, and I just cannot understand his vocabulary.
It's like I have no clue what that kid just said.
Yeah.
Like, basically.
Yeah. And the parents would
There were
look at
3.
me, and the expression on their face either said, you have a prodigy or you have a freak on your hand. Like.
And it turned out to be both.
So, is that the one you thought I was going to say?
Yeah, well, when you said park. Yeah.
That's really funny. That seems so you too for some reason. I don't,
Yes.
Even though I didn't know you as a 3-year-old, that just
Yes.
I think
Although,
that part of you has morphed into your current personality.
Yeah, for sure. Although I can also see you being very articulate at a young age. Like you're very like well spoken.
Was I, Mom?
Yes.
Articulate?
Yes.
Oh.
You
Yeah.
were talking full sentences.
Yeah.
Almost at like 15 months.
Yeah, yeah. Me too.
Making full sentences.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, I was the 3-year-old that couldn't speak English that Nick was talking to.
No, we're just hearing that.
This is the
No.
reunion episode.
That was
That's
good.
awesome.
Mom, do you have a childhood story for me that you want to share with the podcast?
I
Or with
do.
the
And similar to Nick's mom, there were a bunch of them, but one that comes to mind that often comes up at many family parties is when
Oh,
Justin, you know it too.
Do I? No, I
Yes.
don't know yet.
So Justin was 7 and his siblings were 5 and 3. And my sisters and I, it was my parents' 50th wedding anniversary coming up. So we were looking at wedding venues, and I
Oh.
brought my 3 kids along because they always came with me. I loved it. And Justin, his whole life, and I think this continues into adulthood, is very curious. And we used to call him, like, Curious George. We would call him Curious Justin.
Oh.
And so this story kind of relates to that. So we are looking at a venue for our parents' anniversary party, and that venue will remain unnamed, and you'll know why at the end of this story. So we are looking around.
Legal reasons.
Yes. So we're looking around, and I see Justin's wandering eye, and I'm thinking, what is he curious about now? So for a minute, we start talking to the planner, and I lose track of my kids on the grounds. I can see them, but I'm thinking, where is he going? And all of a sudden, I see Justin at 7 and his 5-year-old brother on a golf cart, and they're driving it.
Oh.
And they're driving it. So, yes. So my sisters and I start screaming. I'm holding Ashley's hand. Justin, stop driving that cart. Screaming at him. So he literally stops driving that cart, jumps out with his brother, and the golf cart goes into the pond. Down the hill. into the pod.
Oh
And I
my
turn to look at the event planner, and I say, I am so sorry. I will pay for everything. Needless to say, we did not have our event at that place.
Wow.
Justin.
I just want to say, in my defense, there was no key in the golf cart, so it shouldn't have been able to move. But apparently, this one was like equipped with an emergency setting, where if you flipped, there was the forward, reverse, and emergency. And when it's flipped into emergency, it still works when there's no key. So I pressed the accelerator, and we started moving. And then my mom yelled at me, and then we were like, okay, stop driving. So we jumped out, and we didn't apply the parking brake, and so it just kept rolling.
I have a question. Since when did the emergency button not mean stop? Like,
Yeah.
when did that mean go?
That's a good question. Maybe it was the manufacturing error.
Terrifying.
No idea, but I did ask Justin, what made you think of doing that? I was just so curious how it worked, where it would go, how fast it would go. And there you have it, Curious Justin.
Curiosity hasn't killed the Justin yet, but yeah, I'm only 22, so it almost did.
That's awesome. Justin, did you get in trouble?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Worth it. No regrets. Now we're laughing, right? We're having through the story. We're laughing. That's what we always say, right? Someday we'll laugh about this.
And literally it comes up at almost every... Do you remember that time, Justin?
It hasn't come up in a while. That's why I didn't know what you were saying, and I was like,
That's
oh boy.
hysterical. That's a good one.
So I'm very interested in like sibling dynamics and like oldest, youngest. We don't have a middle, but middle. You guys obviously do with Ryan. I meant like my mom.
Hi Ryan, we love you.
No, but so Justin did some research on, and you can
Yes.
explain. You did research on sibling dynamics.
So, well, by research I mean a quick Google search.
Yes.
It's not. But so I found on parents.com there was an article about birth order traits, and so it says your guide to sibling personality differences. And so we thought it'd be fun to talk about what traits, according to psychology and developmental experts, are usually found in firstborns, for our family, middle child, and then the youngest. So, of course, since Nick and I are the oldest, we have to start with the firstborns. So, according to this website, the firstborns are reliable, conscientious, structured, cautious, controlling, and achievers. Simply by being a couple's first child, a firstborn will naturally be raised with a mixture of instinct and trial and error. We just heard a story of trial and error. This often causes parents to become by-the-book caregivers who are extremely attentive, stringent with rules, and overly neurotic about the minutiae. This, in turn, may cause the child to become a perfectionist, always striving to please their parents. Firstborns bask in their parents' presence, which may explain why they sometimes act like mini adults. Nick, I think we just heard the story about that, too. They're also diligent and want to excel at everything they do. Firstborns tend to be overachievers. In addition to usually scoring higher on IQ tests and generally getting more education than their brothers and sisters, firstborns tend to outlearn their siblings. Finally, firstborns tend to be type A personalities who never cut themselves any slack. They often have an intense fear of failure, so nothing they accomplish feels good enough. That was a terrible way to end that section of this. but I want to talk about that description of firstborns, and that I can add some resources in the description of this episode about where that came from. But let's just talk. I feel like as a firstborn, that feels pretty hauntingly accurate.
I would agree.
I would agree with that for you.
I think so.
Yes.
Which part do you feel like you can resonate with? I mean, I feel like I can resonate with the perfectionist side, type A personality. What do you think?
I think so. I think you're hard on yourself for sure. But I think that with the firstborn, you want to do everything right, and you are quite attentive, which Justin
As
also
a parent or
as
as
a parent,
a child?
as a parent.
As a parent.
But I would also say that Justin has another nickname, which is Prince Justin. If you will do it, I will let you. And I think that comes from being the firstborn because we were so attentive. But I have to say, to shout out to my other two, that we had 3 children because I wanted to be a certain type of parent for each of them. And I felt like 3 was the max that I could do and be that kind of parent. So I hope that I was just as attentive to the other ones. But Justin really does hold the reigning title of Prince Justin. If you do it, I will let you.
Sounds like laziness.
No.
I'm a little, well,
No, it was just like learning to tie your shoe is when it kind of started. And you're
third
like, well,
grade. I finally learned in third
Me
grade.
too. Me
Really?
too. Me too. I'm not even joking. I was
There's
so
something
late
to
with
this. I think
that. Same
there's
with
something
I didn't want to drive for the longest time.
Oh,
But
I was
that
quick because I'm on the younger side of my grade, so I wanted, as soon as I could drive, I got
I'm
behind
like
the
middle
wheel.
of the road. I'm not. Oh, I'm March, so.
Right. But yeah.
Interesting. What about you?
To your point, Lisa, when people would come visit us, we would literally open the door and say, "This is Nick's world. Welcome to it."
I love that.
And Nick would have to perform concerts where you couldn't speak. And if you did, he would start the concert from the beginning. And my mother, God rest her soul, encouraged this. And finally, it got to the point where everyone would leave the room that he'd be singing in except my mother. And, you couldn't applaud until he told you that
No,
you
you
could
just couldn't.
applaud.
I would cry if people clapped. I didn't like that attention, and I really do believe that the reason I didn't like it was because I was no longer in control of the attention. Right, like when I was performing,
When someone would applaud afterwards.
Yeah, I was controlling people. I was the center of attention, but like I had like control in my mind. But when people start applauding you, it's like singing "Happy Birthday." Who likes being sang to or sung to "Happy Birthday"? It's like the worst, most awkward thing ever, and I just couldn't handle it.
We would have.
Oh, go ahead.
No,
Camille.
no, please, you go ahead.
Well, I had a happy birthday story, which is sort of sidetracking, but it's
okay.
kind of funny. So Justin and my youngest his youngest sister, Ashley.
The orange from episode 3.
Yes.
Nick, I got the episode number.
Yes, good job.
Yeah, you did.
Well, they have the same birthday. And so I always felt bad for my middle son, Ryan, because I, felt bad that they would have a birthday or family party on the same day. And I never wanted him to feel excluded or unimportant on that day. So by doing what I did, I've actually scarred him for life, I think. So they would sing happy birthday, and we'd have these big family parties, and everyone would sing happy birthday to Ashley and then Justin. And then we would sing the dreaded song that Ryan has come to dread, "For He's a Jolly Good Fellow," to Ryan.
That's so funny.
And finally, I don't remember, at some point he said, "Please stop doing that for me. I don't want you to sing that song."
The funny part was we had little headbands that said "Happy Birthday," and I had a red and blue one, and Ashley had a pink and purple one. And again, because my mom didn't want in all good intentions, my brother to feel left out, my brother had a headband, but it was just hands on little springs that were above his head. Green little hands and springs that
That's so good.
and he'd sit in between us with his little hands.
That's
I
too
did
good.
have good intentions.
He's gonna tell his kids that story someday. That's great.
To your-
If he has kids, if
To
he
your
wants kids.
point, Lisa, they don't come with manuals.
Yes, thank you, Camille.
I think this is a great way to segue into talking about the middle child, which for us is Ryan. And so the same article from parents.com says that middle children tend to be people pleasers, somewhat rebellious, they thrive on friendships, have a large social circle, and are peacemakers. Middleborns are go with the flow types. Once a younger sibling arrives, they must learn how to constantly negotiate and compromise in order to, quote, fit in with everyone. Not surprisingly, middle kids score higher in agreeableness than both their older and younger siblings. I'm pretty stubborn, so I feel like that's true for Ryan. Because they often receive less attention at home, Middletons tend to forge stronger bonds with friends and be less tethered to their families than brothers and sisters. They're usually the first of their siblings to take a trip with another family or want to have a sleepover at a friend's house. So I feel like there's some truth to, at least for our experience with Ryan, having those qualities, but then some of it I feel like he doesn't necessarily fit into that description.
I agree. And I also think that has to do with there were 2 boys and then a girl. So he's almost in a sense the younger boy. So I think that plays into some of the dynamics in a family as well, not just birth order. But I do think Ryan is easygoing because he was in the middle. But I also think he has no problem following, which could be good and bad. And that it was good when you guys were younger, and Justin was definitely the leader coming up with all the games, and Ryan was his sidekick right beside him going along with it and letting Justin create the silliest and funnest games, and he would do all of them with him. So that was great. And when Ashley came along, she was a girl, so that was just a really different dynamic. Mm-hmm. And I always thought we'd have 3 boys because I just had so much fun with them. I'm sporty, and I loved it. They love to do sports with me. So I do agree. I think Ryan does fall into that category, but not so much as he does have, special friends, but he's not as adventurous as you are to go off with other families and do that sort of thing. And I really hope he doesn't move far away from home like all of you. Mama Bear wants you close.
I feel like with Ryan, the peacemaker thing has come out more as he's my relationship with Ryan has grown as of late, because I feel like there was a good example of that is there was, sometimes when families are together, they might have little arguments, right? Just verbal arguments or whatever. And there was
our family.
No, our family's perfect. But I'm talking about other families. And there was an instance recently where that happened, and Ryan would text in the siblings group chat that we have with myself and Ashley, and he was like telling us what we should do in order to prevent there to be any more fighting today. And this was just recently when they were home from school, just on a quick little vacation or for a weekend. And I don't know, I'm stubborn, and so I was like, I wanted to stick on my side of the argument, and Ashley was just like, didn't really have a stake in the argument, but I was like, I want my thing, and Ryan was just like, no, do this to just make everybody happy, and then we can just move on and move forward. I don't know if that's...
And I think that's a big part of his personality. He likes to keep the peace.
He does. Yeah. So I don't know. That's where I kind of resonate with this description. People pleaser, somewhat rebellious, thrives on friendships, has a large social circle, and peacemaker.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah. The youngest, Jordan and Ashley in our families. The youngest are characterized as fun-loving, uncomplicated, manipulative, outgoing, attention-seeking, and self-centered, which I think is that's an intense description. Let me go on though. Youngest children tend to be the most free-spirited due to their parents' increasingly laissez-faire attitude towards parenting the second or third or fourth or fifth time around. Lastborns generally aren't the strongest or the smartest in the room, so they develop their own ways of winning attention. They're natural charmers with an outgoing social personality. Lastborns also learn to use their role as the baby to manipulate others in order to get their way. They're the least likely to be disciplined. Youngest are known for feeling that nothing I do is important. Therefore, none of their accomplishments seem original. Their siblings have already learned to talk, read, and ride a bike, so parents react with less spontaneous joy at their accomplishments and may even wonder, why can't he or she catch on faster? I felt that was a very harsh, intense description of youngest lastborns. What do you think?
Yeah, I want to say, was that an oldest sibling or a youngest that wrote that? I'm curious. Or a middle. Sorry, I just fell over.
Good question, Nick.
Yeah.
I know. Who's the author?
It was me.
I feel like Jordan's personality, given the descriptions you just gave of second and last born or whatever, second born. She fits more like a second child.
Middle. Yeah.
Oh, middle child. Absolutely. Absolutely. The peacemaker has a really strong group of friends. Like, there's like next to nothing that I would say fits her personality as the youngest.
Okay, and now I'll amend that for her. She does get away with a lot.
She does not.
She gets away with a lot, and no, she doesn't actually get away with a lot, but she definitely uses her. Nick, I don't know. She just like she'll be like, Nick, I'm helping Mom send this text. Like, can you take Abby out? I'm like, really? She just did that.
Is that the worst thing your sister does?
I'm helping your mom
No.
send text.
No,
That's what
She has adored you since she was born.
and this is where she gets, defended. This is the part that, that we were just talking about.
where she's the favorite. Is that what?
Used to bite me. And somehow it was still my fault. I'm not going to lie to you.
That's not true. That is not true. She was.
I would get a sling. I would get a sling because I was dramatic. My mom would take a scarf or whatever and make a sling for my nothing. She bit my arm like it wasn't broken. She'd also have a sling. I didn't bite back. So who's the favorite here? Meanwhile,
imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. I mean,
Thank
she's
you,
copying
Justin.
you.
so what is
Thank
it?
you.
So what
My
does it mean
sister
when I go
copied
to...
my birthday. Okay, so
Yeah, true, true.
But you got to name her.
this is true. I did name Ashley. So, what were you gonna say, Nick?
I was gonna rest my case.
Oh.
But I'm curious what your mom has to say about the description.
Well, I'd say in this house we say Ashley's in Ashley's world. And that means a lot of different things. But when she was younger, I would say both her brothers really took care of her and brought her along everywhere. So much so that when she was 2, she was not really talking. And I was getting very concerned. And so we had an early intervention come in, and they just wanted to observe our family. And when
Before she goes on, to the point where we would yell at her face to see if she would respond because we thought she might be deaf. So, like, before we brought up in the doctor, I don't remember specifically, but I remember you telling the story at, like, family parties and stuff, and my cousins be like, yeah, we were, like, screaming in her face, Ashley, can you hear us? Like,
okay, and it turns out she had a really bad head cold. She was only 6 months old, and she couldn't hear because her ears were completely blocked. So
okay,
that's
fine.
really what
Fair
happened. But so
Go on.
fast forward, and she's around 2, and she really didn't have many words at all, but I knew she understood everything. But we had early intervention came in, and before they left, and they gave us the summary of their visit, and they said she doesn't need to talk. Her brothers do everything for her. She points there, they get it. They say, she wants juice, Mom, and they were speaking for her. So I didn't even pick up on that. So I had to realize it's so great that you care so much about your sister, but we need her to talk. So they would take care of her even to that extent.
That is so interesting.
Now we fast forward to when they're older, and my middle guy, Ryan, was a hockey player, and he would stick Ashley in all of his hockey pads and put her in front of the goalpost. They would just shoot pucks at her. And she would do that.
He took your advice to heart.
She's a tough cookie. And I have to say, I don't worry about her in that regard because she's tough because of her brothers. And because she's also tough emotionally, and she has trouble sharing her emotions and saying sorry. Just saying. We got her a sorry button.
We have a sorry button.
We
Like
have
an
a
easy
sorry
button. Like an easy button, but it says sorry.
She couldn't say sorry because she's so tough having 2 older brothers. So it's a blessing
That's
and
my
a
bad.
curse.
That's my bad.
But as far as being the youngest, she was, I guess, not really with me, but the boys used to tease her that, oh my gosh, Dad just treats you like a princess. You get everything you want. But I don't think you guys did that really with me. But she definitely played the daddy card.
Yeah, she
Pretty
did.
good.
Daddy's little girl.
Until she
played
got
a
to
lot.
high school. And then it's a tough stage. Let's just
Did
leave
Jordan
it there.
do that?
Do? She does.
No, she Jordan is not tough.
Oh my God.
She only responds to warm and fuzzy. She wears her heart on her sleeve. I worry about her because everybody that meets her says she is literally the nicest person I know, and I worry that, you know, people will take advantage of that.
There's one person that doesn't say that, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, of course. I will say my children are very competitive with each other. And that's where that stems from. But yeah, no, I would not describe Jordan that way at all.
Interesting.
The only part really that I resonated with for the last born youngest child for Ashley is definitely the natural charm with an outgoing social personality.
Agree.
She can get along with anyone, really. Like she's a social butterfly, but really a social chameleon, because she can any group, I feel like she can relate to some way, shape, or form, and she's very good at social media. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I feel like on social media you have to, especially with TikToks, with like the dance, because she does a lot of the dance crazes, or I don't know what you call them, fads or whatever they are. And she gets a lot of likes, as she said on her episode. She's very good at that. I don't know if you want to add anything, Mom.
She's a very spirited, animated person, and she just adds some funniness to our home when she's here with her, I don't know, her funny sayings and her dances. She's very funny. Like
part of Ashley's world.
Yeah, part of Ashley's world.
Sure.
So we prepared a series of rapid fire questions that we're all going to answer about. So like, I'll answer it about you, you answer it about me.
Okay.
Question 1, what is something I say a lot? And these are rapid fire.
H.
True.
Oh,
What's
resonate.
Resonate? That's a good one. Nick, what does your mom say a lot?
Oh, I know. See, it's not falling asleep. It's staying asleep. That she says that because like she's always talking about how she has problems sleeping. It's like, but see, it's not falling asleep. It's staying asleep. Yeah. So that's going on her tombstone, like on the back. It's not dying. It's staying dead. No, because she's gonna haunt me.
Oh yes, I will.
So
this is a hard one for me to answer, because I feel like you have certain things that come and go. Like most recently, I won't give context, but Little Debbie is something that you've said a lot, because I brought that up. I'm not going to give you any context on air.
No.
Or maybe even off air, but that's
We're not going there.
I think I might know,
We'll
but
meet
maybe
for
I don't.
dinner. You can tell us then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Plan.
Okay.
That sounds good. Yeah, but I'm trying to think of, like, whenever I say something that I want to garner a reaction from you, I really appreciate your, oh my gosh, like you say it like that. You say that a lot, so I'll say that.
A lot. How are you and I the same?
I feel like we're the same in our extrovertionness. I feel like we're the same in our kind of our type A personality, with our organization, and how we interact with our friends, and how, I feel like our interactions with our friends and our family are very, very similar.
I agree.
My mom concurs. Okay.
I would say that we do not change our mind easily. Like, it's very difficult to once we have an idea in our head, it rarely changes. Which can be, good and bad. And also, I would say our like work ethic, for sure. What would you say?
I would just add our sense of humor.
Yeah.
You hesitated.
I hesitated.
I would just add our love of tennis.
I love tennis too, and pickleball.
And pickleball.
Racket sports.
And to answer when you said I hesitated. Yeah.
That's not true.
All right.
We have the same sense of
She
humor.
finds me funny. Do you want to ask the next one?
Sure. How are you and I different?
I think that I'm more open to certain things. I think I definitely challenge you.
Yeah.
In some ways, even
I
like
agree.
socially.
I agree. I totally agree with that. Do you want me to answer it?
Yeah.
I was going to keep it more like you're very much off the cuff, and I'm very, and I know, like, whatever, but I'm very structured. Like, you leave a room, you turn the light off. You know, you're going to grab the dirty clothes, you grab them from everybody's room, and you don't traipse them down the stairs. You know, like, I don't know why that comes to mind, but...
Hey, that's my bad.
I feel like in our family, that's you. Turn the light. I'm notorious for leaving the light on in a room.
That drives me
What do
bonkers.
I say? Justin, are you done in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you say that too.
Then he says, oh, did I leave the light on again?
Yes.
I love that.
I have an answer to this.
Go
I
ahead.
think that you sometimes tend to be a procrastinator, and I am not at all. I got to get it done right away. And if it's a really big thing that's weighing on you, I feel like, and you always get it done, but you might let it fester, and I can't
Yeah.
stand the cloud, so I have to just get it done.
Same here. I would say that the same for us.
I agree.
Justin looks like he's in deep thought.
No, because I had an answer and then it left me. What makes me super happy?
Organizing something. If you're planning an event for someone
Yes.
else, you love
Yes.
to do that.
I love event planning. You like doing that
I
too,
do.
though.
I do.
Wow.
But you are so excited when you're planning a trip or an itinerary for the day, or you just love organizing things for other people,
Yeah.
including
agree.
yourself in that group. But you love it. Makes you, I can just see it on your face. You're so happy.
I would agree. And my answer for you is when it could be our immediate, it could be our extended, but when our family is together
Love.
and we're all obviously when we're all getting along, it's maybe happier. But whenever our family's together, it
Love.
makes you super happy.
Yep. Totally agree.
Throwing it to you, the Gervasies.
What makes me super happy?
I think you love personalized attention, like when it's one-on-one, either it be you and I or you and Dad.
I do.
You thrive on that.
I do.
Another thing that makes you super happy is Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the one that's like, I'm
Nice
so
one,
happy.
Camille.
Oh.
Thank you.
Swish.
Yeah, literally. But I agree with both of those. For you, I would say when Jordan and I are when you see Jordan and I being genuinely kind to each other, which is, you know,
Yep, you nailed that one.
yeah.
Nick, this is you.
All right. What makes me sad?
Oh,
Everything else. No.
pretty much everything else.
Sad boy hours.
Yeah, I don't even know how to answer that. I think probably your OCD.
I was gonna say my mental illness. Anyways, what makes you sad? When
This is easy.
yeah, I was just gonna say when oh yeah, she says when either of her kids are sad.
What I think they're gonna put on my tombstone is you're only as happy as your most miserable child.
Yes, I agree.
So, yeah.
Do you want to
That
go
makes
first or
you
me?
I think you, because I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think what makes you sad is kind of the opposite of what makes you super happy, but it's when the family is not getting along.
Agree.
Because when, even if it's just like if I'm not getting along with Dad or Ryan's not getting along with Ashley, or any combination of that, then you put the stress on you, because I think sometimes as the matriarch of our family, you feel like it's your job to make sure that everyone's getting along, and so it's not uncommon that if we're all not getting along, I'll see you get kind of worked up and stressed because you feel like it's your job to make sure that we're all getting along, to fix it. Which that's another way we're similar, is because I feel like we have fix-it personalities, which is better or for worse. But I think that's my answer for you.
I agree. That's fair. And for you, I actually thought of as change.
Change makes me very sad. That's
Like when you came back from Loyola after graduating, you were sad.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you come back from vacation, you're sad. Wait a minute, I'm sensing a theme here. Is it home? No, I'm just kidding. What is my favorite thing to do?
You like being active. You don't like, even though you know, I guess for the phrase, or like a homemaker or stay-at-home mom, you're never home. Like you're always doing things. You're always doing things. And you know, as I've gotten older, I've come to realize, you know, you're very good. Mrs. Gervasi talked about having structure. Like you're very good at being able to structure things for your life. Like you have New Life, which we both do work for, and you have your tennis friends, and you have you all these different groups of friends too, and you make sure to get lunches with people. And so I think, what was the question? What's my favorite thing to do? I think just staying active, whether that be in the exercise sense or just schedule wise.
Agree.
Staying active.
Agree.
What do you think for me?
Your favorite thing to do, I think, is being with your people.
That's
and
a good
just
answer.
having a really good conversation with your people.
Yes, I think that's a very good answer. Very accurate. Fist bump. There you go.
I know I'm not getting a fist bump for my answer.
I
I would say that
Here it comes.
my
In
mom's
5,
no.
4,
I was gonna say
3.
either sleep or
2, 1. There it is.
or shop. She loves going shopping.
I disagree with both.
Be on the beach. Go on
Wait,
vacation.
Camille, if it
shopping.
makes you feel any better, I love both of those things.
Thank you, Lisa. I knew I liked you from the start. I love to laugh. I love to laugh.
Okay,
Make
but
me
I've
laugh and we're
never-
best friends.
Okay, so what's my favorite thing to do?
Lady Gaga?
But like I don't. Yeah, I didn't know how to say that. I don't like. You all know where I was. Like I don't.
Yeah,
know.
we do.
I was gonna say going to the dinner and the movies with my friends is like the one of my favorite things to do. Like Justin, I don't know if we've ever gone to a movie. No, we have, but we go to dinner. That's like one of the things that we do a lot with our friend group, or like lunch or whatever, and it's just one of my favorite things to do. Also, make people laugh. I love making people laugh. Like if you laugh at something I said, I'm like,
You're definitely your mom's son then, because one of her favorite things to do is laugh, and you like making people laugh. So there
yeah,
you go.
and it's lost on both my dad and my sister, who like don't find me funny. So
That's not true. That is not
No,
true.
it is,
They
it is.
find him funny.
no, Jordan does.
Dad does? He
Kind
just,
of. We've both been like,
Dad's just more of like a... It takes a lot to make him burst out laughing, but he's like, that was funny.
yeah, no, literally, like, very good, very good.
Yeah. How do I annoy you? That's a loaded question.
You're
How do
gonna
I
answer it?
No, how do
Oh,
I
my
annoy
bad.
you? I'm
Asking you.
Oh, how does my mom annoy me? She has a real passion for giving me chores when I walk in the door. Like, can you do this? Can you do? She has a real, it really.
Lisa, in my defense, and you will understand this, since he was little, whenever Nick would misbehave, yelling at him didn't work. Putting him in a corner didn't work. Punishing him to his room didn't work. Give him a chore, he was a perfect angel. So you
Wow.
roll with it.
So I'm
when it
24 now,
works.
and I'm just
And he still
angelic
gets-
all the time now.
And he
So,
still
like,
gets chores.
Nick,
yeah.
I was going to say, I can't wait till you come over next. I'll miss it for you.
I was vacuuming Elizabeth's mom's house when I was in Florida. I mean, it's the least I could do, but I was vacuuming her house.
Mm-hmm.
I do like to vacuum. That's one thing you should know about me. I like a nice vacuum.
Do you want to ask me the question?
Yeah. What do I do to annoy you?
When I have to tell him 52 times to do something, and then it has to come down to like a threat. Like, okay, you don't move these sneakers, I'm throwing them away. You know? So, yeah.
Oh.
Probably.
Nick just showed us his shoe.
I handed it to Claire at the movie theater. I took my shoes off and I was like, "Here, can you hold this for a second?" I was trying to get her attention. They're very clean, I will say. Look at how clean these are.
Stop waving them around.
I think my answer for you is, well, the first one's gonna sound cliche. The first one is you care like very much as my mother. I was gonna say too much. You can't care too much, but sometimes if I'm going through something serious, I just want to process it first, and then I'm ready to share. I'll share. But I think just you and Dad being my parents, just like you can tell with my body language when something's up. It's like, what's going on? You okay? How's it going? How's Nick? And then go through my list of friends. It's like, how's Nick? How's Dan? How's, and just go like try and figure out what it is without me saying. But sometimes I need to process it first.
In my defense, I think I've gotten better at that.
You have
Now
gotten
I'll
better.
say
Now that we
when
live
you're-
together,
Yeah.
I mean, that helps.
Now I'll say when you're ready to talk, if something's bothering you, let
Yes.
me know.
The second thing is I get
There
very
too.
well. The second thing is I get very, I get very much into my like TV shows, like watching TV. Like I know there's been studies about like if you're gonna watch Netflix or something to calm down or to rest or decompress, it's not really decompressing. But something that I really like doing, something that I enjoy doing, is watching TV shows, and I get really into my TV shows. and my parents, not just you, I'll put Dad under the bus too, have a terrible habit of having conversation with me as I'm watching my show. And she'll be yelling from the kitchen, and I'm in the living room, and I'm like, I'll pause it, and then I'll respond, and then you probably couldn't hear that because I was facing away. I'll pause it, then I'll respond, and then I'll play it, and then another question, and then I'll pause it again, and I'm like, come on.
Right. He's right. I apologize.
How do I annoy you?
You annoy me by leaving lights on. Every room you go to, there's a light on, and then you
So
leave.
annoying.
There are 3 lights on in this room right now, and they'll probably all stay on.
I
That's
love
not
that.
too bad.
That's not too bad, no. Hopefully you didn't feel like mine were that bad.
No, all good.
All right, last question. If I were to become famous, what would it be for?
Am I answering that?
Yeah.
Your sense of humor. Hands down. Sense of humor.
I do feel like on this show, I try and add like shock value to this show, and then I feel because I'm like, Justin's grandparents listen to this, and I'm like out here saying, but then we had episode 12, and I felt much better. I'm not gonna lie. Justin, you know which one that is. Do you want to say it for us?
My mom
Yeah,
just said the 4 Fs. She
Your
knows
mom-
which
yeah, I
one
know,
it
just-
is.
Yeah, that made me feel
I
better.
had to
'cause
erase that from my brain, Nick.
Nick, you keep
was-
bringing it up.
Did
It's
you
the
say-
bases. No, I wasn't me, and it was.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I encouraged it, and I bring it up a lot. But yeah. So, but I just want to apologize to all of our listeners that know me in person and are adults. I'm very respectful in person. Not so much on this show.
Nick, what would your
Can I
mom
ask
be
you a
famous
question?
for?
Yeah. What would you be? Or no.
You
asked me,
answer.
What would I be famous for?
Okay,
She said
what
your
would
humor.
I be famous for?
Oh, okay.
No. I mean, like I'm now answering
I know.
for
I'm
her.
sorry. We should start again.
Yeah, it's all right. That's all right. You would be famous for.
If you say my meatloaf, I'll kill you.
It's so good. It is so good. So good.
I know. I'm gonna have to try it because I'm a big.
He loves
I'm a
meatloaf.
fan.
It's
Do
really
you?
good.
I'll make it for you, Justin.
It's really
Over
good.
for dinner.
I would say for some reason, I would say you're very good with like correspondence in terms of email. I know that sounds really dumb. No, I swear to God, her coworkers like look to her.
Mrs. Gervais just gave Nick a look of disgust.
Yeah, she did. But I'm so
You
serious.
saw that, Justin?
She has a group chat with the 2 women that she works closely with at work, and they like really rely on you for like the communication. You're very good with like just what you want to say, I guess. And then when you're not, you ask me. But no, I'm serious. Okay, I think I need a different answer apparently. The way I'm
Should I jump in and go to mine? Or what?
No, I would genuinely say that you're very good with like words and also like I only go to.
Could it be because I'm compassionate?
Yes.
I feel like I have to pull it out of you.
I said that she was my favorite person
I
in
know
the world.
how to write an email. Go team!
I said she was my favorite person on this earth at the beginning of this episode. I thought I had checked off the
Let the
box.
record show.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had to pull that out of you. That's not what you think at all.
Okay.
I'm a good email writer.
It's like correspondence. I don't know. I don't know where
I
that
was
came
gonna
from.
say that about my mom. No.
No, you weren't.
What, do you want to answer first, or do you want me to go?
I'll answer.
Go for
Okay, the question. If you became famous, what would it be for? The Point of View podcast.
Thank you.
Yes.
For that one, I'm just going to that being known. Appreciate that one. For you, 2 options. One, you'd either be the next Marie Kondo, who's the person on Netflix that's like getting neat with Marie Kondo. You know, my mom's very good. I'm good at organizing events. My mom's very good at organizing. She's very good at finding places for things that shouldn't don't have places, like just a like your random thing you have, like your random stuff drawer. My mom doesn't have any random stuff drawer. There's a place for everything, and it's unbelievable how she's able to do that. The second thing I would say, if not that, is since I've been alive, you've been very, for better or for worse, good at medical research and like being able to like understand what someone is going through, whether it be a friend or a family member, And I think you would be really good at being, I think you would win an award of some kind for if someone's going through like a difficult medical situation and they don't really have an answer about a diagnosis or something like that. You'd be very good at listening to them, understanding what they're experiencing, and then being able to, obviously you don't have a medical degree, but like talking to people and figuring out what is going on here and helping them get answers.
I appreciate that because I actually like doing that, making phone calls, talking to doctors, and understanding that. I think if I had to do things over again, I might have actually gone into the medical field. So I'm really glad that I might have 2 kids that are.
Justin.
Thanks, Justin.
Of course.
What a wonderful answer.
No, he gave me he gave me 2 great ideas. At first, like, no, honestly, she's a pharmacist.
Backpedal.
Everybody calls her and is like, what can I take this? Can I take, people ask me, hey, can you ask your mom if I can take this? She's like very good with medicine and knowing like different remedies for different illnesses. There you go. I like, that one is genuine. It's from the heart, and which I can no longer feel because I've been sitting for 90 minutes.
Numbness has gone from your toes all the way up to now your heart.
Yep.
And apparently it's affecting your brain.
That started happening on episode 1. All right, so we got the 50-minute warning 25 minutes ago, so should we close this out?
We should, but before we do, though, I just want to say, we always thank our guests for being on this podcast, but Mom, I want to say how grateful I am that you were on here. A couple things I want to share. One of the reasons I'm really grateful for is you said in the episode that you wanted to have 3 kids because you wanted to be a particular type of parent or have a different type of parenting style for all of your kids, and you felt like 3 was kind of the max number you were able to. An example of that is when we were younger, myself, my brother, my sister, we all had a song, and my song was You Are My Sunshine. And so when we were going to bed, my mom would sing that song, and my brother's was Twinkle Twinkle, and my sister's changed. I don't know what hers was. It was Mary Had a Little Lamb, and then my sister said, "Nuh-uh, I want something else." And so then she would change her own song. My sister, I guess, outgoing social personality. But that's, I think, a great example of the type of mom you are, and you continue to be every single day. So, and your ability to empathize, and we have this acronym HAR, which one of your friends came up with. It's my parents strive to be HAR parents, which stand for hip and relatable, and I feel like you've accomplished that. So,
that's so
thanks for being here on this episode, and thanks for being my mom.
So sweet. Thank you.
Thanks
for
a lot,
asking.
Justin. That
Okay,
was a
tough
tough
that,
act to
Nick.
follow. So if you see my Facebook page, I made a
Got this,
video
Nick.
2 years ago for my mom. No, no, I would say that I am grateful for my mom because I don't know what else to say other than what I said before. Is she is literally the anchor that keeps me like afloat or alive. I don't even know, like just in like a support, but also just like in raising me for 24 years. Like that's a lot, Like, and I don't think we think about the time period as I mean, you might. You've been thinking about it for 24 years, but like you take it for granted so much when you're a kid. It's just like, oh, they're your parents, they have to. But not everybody has that parent that, is supportive and, nurturing and kind, and you can still go to. And I'm also, Justin and I have both said this, very grateful that I still get to live here and feel that like guidance and parenting, because a lot of people don't have that. So I'm very grateful for that. And if you don't like that answer, listeners, go to my Facebook. Like I said, I made a very nice video for her 2 Mother's Days ago.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That was very nice, Nick.
And it made her cry, which we love. We don't love when she cries. I mean, like, we love when she cries happy tears.
And you forgot our song. Your song.
Oh, yeah, our song. So our song is Your Song by Elton John. Cause I don't know why you picked it, and it's just our song, and that's what we're going to dance to at my wedding.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Very nice. I've loved this episode. I hope.
Me too.
It's got to be a lengthy one, but I don't care.
My sincerest apologies.
If our audience does, well, there's other podcasts. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now you're not going to become famous.
I know. Well, I know. Need to manifest it. I'm going to stick with it. Mom, would you like to take us home with our outro with Mrs. Gervasi?
Sure, I'll do my best.
Okay.
My son is Justin Dew.
And my son is Nick Gervasi.
You can reach them at their email, pointofdewpodcast@gmail.com, or by sending them a voice message on their website, anchor.fm/pointofdew. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Point of Dew Podcast and Twitter at Point of Dew. If you enjoy their show, give them a rating or a review in the Apple Podcast Store, or share it with a friend or family member. We'd all really appreciate it and are truly grateful for your support. If you don't do this, Mama Bear will come and find you. As always, we hope you have a wonderful week, and thank you for listening. Until next time, H.
I just wanted to hear them say H, to be honest. That was great. We did such a good job, you guys. I'm just going to pat us all on the back right now.
Out of easy, because we count the times when we were together. Now we're back again, but this time the colors will not be the same.